Hello everybody and welcome to the Director of Football Sabotage with Livorno. Now for those of you who've maybe missed the past few episodes and are wondering what is going on, let me explain. So over the past few seasons with Livorno, we have made very little progress, and in fact in my opinion we have went a little bit backwards. The Director of Football role in Football Manager is sort of broken in some ways and doesn't work in others, and it's not really a fully fleshed out feature in my opinion. And due to that, my enjoyment of this save and of this series was definitely waning. And one of the things I like to keep in my series as well is progress, or at least progression. You know, I don't want to just fly through seasons and have us go backwards or stand still. And you know, going backwards is not always a bad thing. Sometimes you lose one of your key players for a lot of money, so you take a hit in the short term for the longer term view, but that is not what was happening with us. So in the January transfer window of the last season, I did decide to take over the transfer responsibilities from the Director of Football. And actually someone in the comments did say that it is something that you might see in real life. You know, when a manager first comes in, the Director of Football takes control of the transfers and all the incomings and things like that. But as the manager gains trust and grows in confidence with the board and with the fans, he might start taking on more responsibility in regards to transfers. So that is going to be my excuse. So going forward from this point, the Director of Football will only be in charge of transfer outgoings. I will be in charge of all transfer incomings. Now, we never actually really seen our Director of Football sell a player from underneath us that we didn't want to sell, because we didn't have any players that any clubs were interested in, but we'll definitely have that going forward. And I think it's a little interesting twist based on, you know, how the board might take over a transfer offer for one of your players because it's so too good to be true. That is going to happen a lot with us, with our Director of Football in charge. So that's basically it. That's going to be us going forward. Director of Football in charge of transfer outgoings. I will be in charge of transfer incomings. I will be relying on him and the chief scout for all the scouting. I'm not going to do any of that. So I will be relying on the scouts and the player search tool to be able to find the players I want to bring in. So the Director of Football challenge has ended, and we'll start a new one called the Director of Football Sabotage. And now that the boring explanation is underway, let's get into our summer transfer business. The Director of Football was in charge for these outgoings, so what you see here is what you get. Apicella is one of our young centre-halves that came through. I think we actually signed him from a club that he was released from. He's 20 years old now, 2.5 star. He's went out on loan at Parma. I don't really see a future for him at the club. Vincenzo Ferrari is a decent left winger, I do believe. He's went out on loan to Serie B, so we'll see how he gets on. Aidan Flint has left the club for a free transfer. He's one of the ones that the Director of Football brought in from Middlesbrough, £375,000. He's 34 years old now. Very glad to see the back of him and get the wages back into the club. Antonio Adan did leave for Villarreal after he agreed a deal in January. He was homesick, so homesick at 35. You expect your teenagers to do that, but not Antonio Adan. But he has left the club, and to be honest with you, he's our highest earner, so that wasn't too big of a problem. Probably the most disappointing sale was Luka Bogdan to Aston Villa for £1 million. He was on a good bit of money at us, and I think we are still paying some of his wages while he is at Aston Villa. But he has been with us since the very beginning in Serie B, and he's a decent centre-half, if not a fantastic one. So sad to see him go, but we've definitely brought in better. So that netted us £1.1 million of transfer incomings, and we spent £16 million. Now, one of my major gripes with the Director of Football was his unwillingness to go out and spend the money. So when I got my hand on that transfer budget in the summer, I knew I was just going to go wild with it, and we've got very little left. So in terms of the incomings, my head of youth development is still in charge of youth transfers, so he is still bringing in some players on a free transfer. As you can see here, Giovanni Vitalia, a centre-half come right back who's probably never going to make too much of himself, so we'll ignore him for now. Hidatura Vest was my first signing in the summer. He was a free transfer, and I thought for somebody who's on a free, he can be our backup right back / centre back. I want to continue pursuing Belangioli at that right back slot so he can reach his full potential as a homegrown player. And I just thought he was a decent bit of business at £10,000 on a backup contract. He was happy with that. And I remember on previous years being really high rated, but I think on FM19 he's not so much. I did decide to bring in Nicola Maru on the permanent transfer. We had him on loan last season, an Italian left back. We signed him for £235,000. It was an agreed fee as part of that loan. And I think he's just a fantastically well-rounded left-back. Plus he's Italian. Plus his wages aren't absolutely ridiculous. And it was one less place where I had to spend the money so I could spend it elsewhere. I'm going to leave some of our better signings till the end. And to be honest with you, I have no idea how I'm going to pronounce that name. Andras Dullo were brought in from NTK for £925,000. He's a Hungarian goalkeeper. We did sign a goalkeeper in the January transfer window whose name now escapes me, Marek Rodak, but he is going to be my new number one, Andras Dullo, purely because he's 20 years old, got plenty of potential to grow. He was a cheap signing, and I do expect him to grow quite a lot in the future. Maros Petras is a free transfer that I made. It wasn't one that my head of youth development made. A 20-year-old Slovakian central midfielder with outstanding physical attributes. His mental attributes are really well-rounded as well, particularly for the central midfield position. His technical attributes need a lot of work, but he's going to come in and be a backup central midfielder for us. And I'm actually going to try and give him as much game time as possible because he's 2.5 star, which is good enough for our first team, and a 4.5 star potential. This is the worst signing of the summer. £3 million for Kevin Tagliapietera. He's a 20-year-old Italian centre-half, and when I did sign him, he was a 3-star, 5-star centre-half, but as you'll see later on, one of our new signings has kind of knocked that down quite a bit. I did like the look of him purely because of his physicals, the potential that he did have. A 3-star centre-half is actually just as good as pretty much most of our centre-halves in the squad when I did sign him, but for £3 million, he was an expensive signing from Juventus. He'll still see plenty of football. He's a decent enough centre-half. He's probably going to be third choice or so, I do think. But if I could take this one back, I definitely would. One I would not take back is Filippo Ranocchia for £4.5 million from Perugia. He is just an Italian defensive midfield general who's probably going to be our defensive midfielder for quite some time. Fantastic physically, fantastic mentally. Technically, he's got it in the right places. He's probably not the most complete, but one of the most complete signings that we've made this summer. This isn't a guy with the future in mind, even though he does have the potential to improve in the future. He's going to slot into the first team straight away, and he probably is already classed as a good player for most Serie A sides, and that can only improve. And if you've been watching the series, a good player for most Serie A sides is basically a wonder kid to me. I'm going to leave Stefan Carpunu as well. Hugo Fernandez was brought in from Chavez for £875,000. He is going to be probably one of our first choice central midfielders. I really like his work rate and his teamwork, and I think we'll just need that sort of workhorse in the centre of midfield, playing that box-to-box midfielder role, which I think is what I am going to do with him. His physicals are a little bit lacking, which is maybe the most concerning thing, but he is a 3-star, 5-star player. And hopefully, given a full season of first-team football, he'll massively improve. So the two major signings, in my opinion, Listen, somebody could tell me how to pronounce this name, I'm sure. And I'm sorry if I offend anyone by changing his name. I'm going to call him Zach. So Zach were brought in from Borussia Dortmund, and I was highly surprised they let him go for £3.2 million. This is him, a wonder kid, striker, German from Borussia Dortmund for £3.2 million. Now, I had to pay him quite a lot in wages to get him to agree to come to Livorno. He did have interest from other clubs, bigger clubs, but none of them actually made an offer. So he's the sort of player I imagine we're going to bring in. Maybe he'll stay for a year or two, and then the big boys will come sniffing, and our director of football will sell him from underneath us. The second player that's likely to happen with is Stefan Carpanu. We've signed him from Steaua Bucharest for £3.6 million. He's a centre-back who comes in as a 4.5-star centre-back. Now, even for a club at our level, it is difficult to get a player who is actually rated at 4.5 stars for your club to come to your club. And also that he's rated as a wonder kid, he's got 5-star potential. He's just the best player at the club, probably by a bit of a country mile. His natural fitness is a little bit of a concern at 9, but as a centre-half, I'm not expecting him to be running up and down the pitch, so I hope that that doesn't result in any negative issues. His physicals are absolutely fantastic. Mentally is his weakest point of his game, but even that's not too bad. Technically, he's got the stats where it matters, and he is just an unbelievable player. So those were the transfers that we've made over the summer transfer window, and I think it's fair to say we've signed some absolute worldies in there. You know, even the likes of the ones that were 3-star, 5-star are going to be massive for us. Not only as a financial boon if they do get sold, but if they stay at the club and develop the way I expect them to, they're going to be world class. But as you can see, the transfer budget has been depleted quite significantly. Only £1 million left with £52,000 in the wage budget. Financially, we're still sitting pretty, £25 million in the overall balance. We have actually reduced our wage budget for this season, which is fantastic. So hopefully, in terms of finances going forward, we shouldn't be struggling anytime soon. And yeah, I'm really pleased with the signs we've made, and I'm pleased with the changes I've made to this series to keep it interesting for me. So in terms of who I see as me first 11 when everybody's fit, Dullo will start in goal. Belangioli, he's developed okay over the past season or so, so he keeps his place at right back. But I think definitely now, after the signs we've made, the wing back positions are our weakest place. Carpanu will definitely start centre back. Marqueza is going to be the preferred centre back to start alongside him, one of our January transfer signings. Nicola Maru at left back, Ranocchia at defensive midfield, Hugo Fernandez and Jonsgaard, who you'll know were signed in January, and the Norwegian central midfielder is now classed as a wonder kid, and he's developing all the time, so another one who's probably off. Ante Coric is going to get the nod over Galvan at attacking midfielder. Skrbech, who is another January signing, will be starting up front alongside Zach. And after all that, we're going to get into today's game. We are going to be placing Crotone away from home in the opening game of Serie A. We have played one game in the Italian Cup third qualifying round against Genoa, and we won that one 4-0. Jonsgaard, Skrbech, Zach and Petras getting the goals for us there. So we kick off against Crotone away from home in the opening game of the season. And I've got to admit, I'm super excited for the season to go ahead. Our expectation by the board is still to avoid relegation, but I'm fully expecting more than that from this side. I'm hoping, with the changes that we've made, we'll be able to finish top half of Serie A this season, which will be fantastic. If our strikers can click, I don't see any reason why that can't happen. I think we've strengthened enough in the defensive department with the signing of Carpanu in particular, and Ranocchia at defensive midfield will see us go through. As Zach is through on goal. His first goal, well, his second goal of the season, but his first goal of the league season in his first league match for Livorno, 1-0. I think it was a long kick up by Riccardo Marqueza, sets him away, and I hope to see more from this lad. Zach, absolutely fantastic start to his Livorno career. Left-footed strike into the back corner. Job's a good. But yeah, top half, definitely the aim. 36 minutes in now, we've got a corner. Ante Coric plays it in, and the keeper claims. Carpano with the ball over the top for Zach again. Please get your second. Oh my god, that's going in. Is that an own goal? Surely it is. Stefan Simic must have tackled Zach from behind, and the ball has just rolled nice and slowly past the keeper. Let's see this in 3D. Another big ball from our centre half over the top, and yeah, wasn't even a sliding challenge. It just hit off him. Zach, I don't know what that was, mate, but you've got us a goal, so I'm happy. And there we go, 2-0, going in half-time away from home in Serie A. It's not something we do too often on this series. We should be expecting it these days, though, against the likes of Crotone. We've definitely improved enough to the point where we beat the teams in and around us more, even when we are away from home. Another highlight, Ante Coric plays the ball in, Zach flicks it on. It's a mess in the centre, and they think they managed to get rid of it. Zach plays the ball back in. No, it's going to get rid. And that is probably going to be end of highlight. Such a shame. I would have liked to have seen that in 3D. Highlights not. Oh, it is over. Corner from Coric. Can we get... Oh my god, the keeper came for them, bottled it, and Zach has hit the woodwork. He could have had a hat-trick here. The highlight has never ended from this corner, and it does look like it's going to turn to something as Svensson plays in Slimmy inside the centre. He gets the ball in. Holtby's there. And Lewis Holtby, he brings back one goal for Crotone. And now I'm a little bit nervy. Decent play by them. They kept possession for at least a few minutes. And Lewis Holtby gets in late, gets into the back post and makes it 2-1. Another highlight in Crotone are coming back with possession. We win it back though through Nicola Maru, and he tries to play through Skrbech, but that was just a poor ball in general. Staphylidis on this left-hand side to Puskas. Benali, Nukori, they're keeping the ball so well, and we not be able to pinch it from them. And they come down this right-hand side again with Svensson. Palombi's from post, and he very nearly made it 2-2. I'm going defensive. We've got to get off Nicola Maru for Andrea Gasparo, who's definitely a more defensive option at left back. And we're actually going to get on Hideta Avest, who I think is a more well-rounded option than Belangioli at right back, so hopefully with them extra stats in the right places, he'll be able to keep things solid at the back for us. And here he is on the ball, Terravest on this right-hand side, cuts inside, gets dispossessed, and he's so far out of position now on this left-hand side that Carpano did have to come and cover, and thankfully they did not exploit that space. Ranocchia now in the centre, and Koric plays the ball through for Skirbeck. Come on, son, put the ball in the back of the net. We've had so many opportunities in this game to kill it off, and unfortunately, we aren't taking them. 5 minutes to go in this match, and there is another highlight. The set away on this left-hand side. Ejaria on this right-hand side. Palombi in the box. That was a gilt-edged chance for them. They should be putting that away. It should be 2-2. Staphylidis with the corner in. Oh, the keeper comes for it. Free kicks awarded. Thank God for that. Could have been a little bit embarrassing. 2 minutes to go. We are going to make a change. Hugo Fernandez, we're going to get off for Marco Maros Petros, and we're going to make him the Metzala and John Scott the box-to-box midfielder. And this is likely to be the final highlight of the game. We're 20 seconds overtime already. Come on, ref, blow the full-time whistle, please, whenever you're ready. And there it goes, full-time. We've managed to hang on. Livorno 2, Crotone 1. They definitely came into the game in the second half, but we managed to hold on for the 3 points. So looking forward to the next episode. We are going to fly through and maybe go to the Atlanta game. So we've got, after them set of fixtures, what's that, 6 fixtures? Nah, it's not enough. Torino at home will play. So after the next 8 fixtures or so, we'll have played 9 in the league. We'll definitely get the sort of sense of where our team fits in this league, how good it is, maybe how bad it is. And if you made it this far, just on the changes to this series, I know some people will be disappointed that's no longer Director Football Challenge. It sort of goes against the spirit of the series by taking over the transfers. But ultimately, my enjoyment of this game trumps whatever the spirit of any series is. And if I'm not enjoying it anymore, I've got to either make changes or change series, basically. So I thought this was a nice compromise, and you know, there will definitely still be calamity going forward. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a like, and if you enjoy my content, get yourself subscribed. But until next time, take it easy.